Since I've got the car up in the air, I'm going to go ahead and change out that rear end fluid. And a word of caution here, when you do this, you want to make sure both plugs are loose before you pull the bottom one. Oh, ouch. That's really in there, isn't it? Yeah. You loosen the top one and then go ahead and remove the bottom one. If you remove the bottom one, can't get the top one out, you're kind of stuck. This way you want to make sure you really push that wrench in and then, wow, isn't that something? Now look at that special wrench that Ryan's using. You know, we do sell that on the website, but we put that rubber handle on it because it really hurts your hand if you don't have a rubber handle. And once you remove the lower plug and start straining, go ahead and pull the top plug because that'll just speed up getting the rest of that fluid out of the rear differential. What's wrong? Too thin?
Yeah.
Looks pretty thin to me, doesn't it? How's it smell?
No.
No, it doesn't smell at all. It looks pretty clean, really.
Yeah, it's got a nice color to it.
Okay. Well, we're going to put my favorite rear end fluid in it anyway, but at least we know it's not going to be dirty, filthy inside. And my favorite fluid is Royal Purple. I'm a real believer in. Not only is Cherry going to get a new rear end fluid, it's going to get a new drain plug. And this is the new design with a round magnet on the bottom. This gives the magnet more surface to pick up metallic debris inside the rear differential. But you've seen my other videos on these magnets. They're amazing. I mean, they just pick up all kinds of stuff. So this is going in the rear end of my 380 SL. It fits all those other, older Mercedes-Benzes, but this is amazing. And there's no filter back in the rear differential, so this becomes the filter. It'll keep those metallic particles from rolling around inside the fluid. Now, the only thing different about this is it's not 14 millimeter, it's 12 millimeter to give it a little more beef. So I need a 12 millimeter hex to install this plug. So it's fully drained now. We'll put this plug in, and then we're going to fill it up with my pressure tank. You're actually going to laugh because this is a little hard to put in. It wants to stick to the rear differential. So if you put it up here, it's like, oh man, I got to move it over and get it into the hole. And then you got to kind of get it straightened out. So you really do need the hex socket to get this lined up, to get it started. Yeah, come on, line up, you turkey. There we go. And once you get it started, you can wipe off the excess fluid. Move your drain pan out of the way. Okay, look at that. Nice new rear end filter. How do you like that? So now I'll get pressure tank in and fill it up with about a liter. It's going to take just about maybe a little bit more than a liter, but I'll put a liter in the pressure tank and we'll stick the nozzle in here, pump it up, and let it fill automatically. I know you're going to be impressed with this. You're looking at this orange bottle with yellow cap thinking, man, Kent, that's cool. Well, this is my newly designed rear end pressure filling tank, which makes this job effortless and spill free. Because I don't like changing rear end fluid because in years past it's always just been messy, spilling, smelly. But watch this work and you'll become a believer in using pressure tanks to fill your rear differentials and your manual transmissions. So I'm going to put the wand in the fill hole. It's got a nice little hook on it, so it just hooks there. I'm going to check all my connections, and now I'm just going to start building up pressure. And I don't need a gauge on this tank. Usually feel the resistance when you got enough pressure. Oh, I see fluid going down the hose. And when you have to start huffing and puffing, I've done some testing with the gauge. It's almost impossible to get this tank over about 25 PSI. So you're not going to burst anything. Just pump it up until you feel your heart rate up. And if you're my age, you start. All right, I've got enough pressure in there, and I'm going to go ahead and open the valve and lock it in. Now this isn't a high flow rate, so I'm going to just walk away and do something else for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And when it's done, you'll hear a gurgling noise. Now if you put the right amount of fluid in the bottle, you'll only get a slight amount of overfill. You want to fill this until you just get a little fluid coming out the top. So I'm going to go ahead and get a drain pan here and set it right underneath the fill holes. So just in case if it overfills, it's going to go right into the drain pan. And before I walk off and work on another project, I'm going to just pump it up some more. You may have to come back a couple times and do this if you're in a hurry, okay? It took about 15 minutes. I was on the other side of the shop. I heard some hissing coming out of the bottle, came over here, and the tank is empty and we're dripping out of the rear end. So just a slight amount of overfill, which is better than underfill. You really don't want to overfill these rear differentials, but having a few drips coming out like this is just fine. So I can go ahead and put this top fill plug in and I'm done. Look at that. It was easy. I didn't have to stress myself out and it was clean. And I know some of you are looking at this orange tank and thinking, well, Ken, is that going to be available for sale? Well, this was a prototype that we came up with. We decided to go ahead and do a smaller fill tank. And I'm not sure. I'll share with you now my findings on this tank and compare it to our original tank. Jerson and I got together and said, well, let's see if we can make a smaller tank, a little more convenient to handle, that would hold 1 liter, and see how that works filling these rear ends. Because our current tank that we sell is a full gallon tank with a pressure gauge, and we found out today this works a lot better. I actually had to come back and repump this 3 times during that 15 minutes it took to fill. This will fill in less than 10 minutes and really only requires 1 heavy pumping up to 20 psi. The reason is this tank holds more air pressure, more volume of air pressure, so it keeps the pressure up over a longer period of time, where the smaller tank only has about this much air to begin with and the pressure bleeds off quite quickly. So it was a good idea and we gave it a shot, but this won't be available. We won't be making that and selling it on we will continue to sell the large tank to fill your manual transmissions and rear ends with the proper fluid. But don't forget, you got to remember this. If you're going to change your rear end fluid, make sure you get one of those cool magnetic filters I showed you earlier.